I'm Sophie Humphreys and I'm a founder of SHiFT.
I'm Michael Clark and I'm a founder of SHiFT.
I'm Rebecca Cramer and I'm a founder of SHiFT.
Which persist. When I want something, I can't bear not to get it.
Now I was thinking Taylor.
Yeah.
I think maybe the hook.
I'm a problem solver.
My professional identity is as an educator. I've always been really interested in the power of education to unlock potential.
I think my professional identity, I think it's with social work. I think of myself in relation to things creatively and the importance of how you can bring creative thinking into all areas and all professions rather than see it as something that just sits within kind of creative industries. But I was introduced to you as somebody who could be really helpful and good at solving problems as we were setting up Pause. I came to your school, but I have to be honest, I can't remember why. But what I do remember, more important, I really thought, oh, I like her.
So we had been thinking about secure school. So I met Sophie and Josh and they came to school and talked to me about the fact that they had also been looking at the secure school but had come to a similar conclusion to us, which was that they didn't want to pursue an application for it, but they had this kernel of another idea.
He's an incredibly brilliant storyteller, has great ideas, and just explained this vision that he'd had, and then we ended up building Frontline together.
So I know Josh because we did the Teach First programme. At the time when I met him with Sophie, he was CEO of Frontline.
But I remember meeting Josh and thinking, oh my goodness, actually, this is somebody who, despite in one way being alarmingly young, I thought he's going to certainly get it done. I started articulating the breaking cycles ingredients. That's when we started thinking, actually, we could maybe do something together. And then we started talking to Michael, and then we had that meeting with Bex, and we all just began to galvanise around that.
For me, it was about the interface of education and placing it at the heart of youth justice. I'd started to go and visit some prisons for children and was horrified at what we found and saw. I'd walked into some prisons and I could hear children calling for their mums, and that is not something anyone ever wants to hear. Just that sense of like there must be a better way of doing this, because children don't make the kinds of mistakes that these children had made unless something has gone really, really wrong at many, many points in their life.
And thinking about Pause, not wanting to see that being something in isolation, that was obviously working with the women who had children removed as only as a focus, and really conscious about who were those children, what happened to those children, looking at areas where things were getting worse, not better. These were the children often of the women we worked with at Pause, and yet these same children we were seeing in different contexts, and we were talking about them as if they were different beings. One moment this child can be seen as vulnerable and as a care leaver and the child that needs to be removed for safety. We're now seeing them as kind of perpetrators and vilifying them, and I think this inability to see somebody as a whole.
For me, there is just this, unbelievable amount of money that is being spent on the wrong things and at the wrong time and the wrong way. And what I'm seeing is this is an injustice. These young people, there must be a better way. We have a model. How can we apply that and actually make sure that we are spending money more wisely and we can put much more into prevention, into breaking cycles rather than at the other end? And I can see the economic argument. I can see the economic rationale. Obviously, there's also the heart as well as the head. But I think what I could immediately see here was this is a broken part of the system that together we can fix.
I was startup director, 2.5 days a week at school, 2.5 days a week on shift, which obviously was 5 days a week in both. 2 children under the age of 4, COVID hit, that was tough. But in lots of ways, it also strengthened the argument for why things are needed. COVID did surface lots of things and give people time and space to engage with things. And what we found really quickly was that there was real appetite and energy for this in the system. And so that was really energizing and galvanizing and helped us to keep going, both from a funding perspective, but also just from what people were crying out for. We've kind of confirmed that insider outsider working is hard.
Yeah. But I think we've really learned, though, through that, the hypothesis has been tested and is right, that it's absolutely key to sit in those difficult places. The reason this work's successful is because of people, and it's because of the practice that's happening with children.
What keeps you going are those stories, those graphs, knowing that you're heading in the right direction, how you keep energy up when actually there are setbacks, or it does take a little bit longer. That tenacity, that persistence, I think you relearn that every year, every board meeting maybe.
You're doing at every moment is thinking, is this fundable? Is this scalable? Could someone else pick this up and run with it? Is this model replicable across pores, across now a different sector? And if it is, what does that actually mean for all the other problems in society? Because that's really exciting. So I think that's the bit, like the coming together of all of those bits. For me, it's the exciting bit. And yes, it's audacious, but like, why not?
It's audacious, but it's evidence-based,
Yeah.
right? You've done it in a separate context. You've got some of the same people. As you said, you're very clear on that long-term target. We are risk takers, and you're going for some of those biggest rewards. You do need to take the risk. So we'll persist, and if we don't get it right the first time, we'll go again, try again. But there's definitely better.
The thing that I'm really proud of is that when you get those right people together, how you can really change people's perceptions of people who I think are relatively unloved, and that is children who are caught up in crime, and to be able to show the bigger picture. And I think that's something we've really achieved as SHiFT as a whole over time.
Two things I would add. One is that I'm pleased that the people who invested in us, both in terms of time and money in the beginning, we have stewarded those resources responsibly, carefully.
Yeah.
And we've done the things we said we were going to do. And then I think the other thing that I'm really proud of is the way that we speak about the young people. Keeping that like storytelling element is really important, because each of these children has a story and it's valid. But doing that in an ethical way that doesn't stigmatize or glorify, like, is the way in which the child would feel happy hearing.
I mean, one of the visits going to see a SHiFT practice somewhere and talking to one of the practitioners and just asking them, tell me about, let's say, James. And it was such music to my ears hearing them start. And they said, he's got a really smiley face. He loves music. He is really attached to his granny. Hearing someone talk about a child that you don't ever hear those descriptions about, it's like, yes, we've got this.
Before pause existed, this work wasn't being done at all, really. And you can now go to pretty much every local authority in the country, and there will be a pause practice or an equivalent. Right? And that's my wildest aspiration, is that there isn't a single young person anywhere in the country that doesn't have, ideally, a SHiFT practice, but something of that equivalent level of quality, thoughtfulness, and that ability to break the cycles. That would be my wildest dream. Anywhere in this country, any child.
I wish we'd stop having to describe children as whether they're children at risk of crime or children at risk of deprivation of liberty orders, or children, or it's like they are children. And if we see those children are in a position, whatever it is they're caught up in, and their families, that we have a service that is available across the country in each local authority that can be bespoke and tailored to meet their needs. And we can't get rid of this sort of youth justice service, children's services. I just think we've got to see children as children, and then we do what's needed based on what's presented.
I think we'd all love to see huge reforms to remand. I think we'd all love to see clarity around, well, I certainly would, clarity around education and the role that can play in how a young person views themselves and their place in society and their sense of, in education, we talk about belonging a lot at the moment. Like, when a child has been in a school and they belong and they feel like they're part of something, that helps them to integrate in society and have a pro-social attitude. That's really different for a child that has not been in school, has not had all of those experiences, and then we send them to prison and expect them to engage in education, but they don't see themselves as a learner. And we don't talk enough about that and the damage that does. And I think, like, bigger picture, just like seeing children as children, like Sophie gave the great example of, you know, the young person who has a lovely smile and likes to go out with their friends and has a hamster or whatever. like just starting with that rather than starting with something that they've done that often wasn't really their fault because they're a child.
We want children to know that we will absolutely do everything, do whatever it takes to ensure they have a childhood like all children should have, where they are helped and supported to meet their aspirations and their dreams, or to learn and work out what those are. This is one way of helping children know that adults are there to help them keep safe.
Humans are really complex and we make mistakes all of the time, and that is okay. And life has ups and downs and is full of beginnings and endings, and that is just life, and that's okay. I think too often we pathologize childhood and the human condition, and actually we're all getting it wrong all the time and being happy and being sad, and that is okay. And part of that is persisting and staying with that journey, and if somebody makes a mistake, we have to learn from it. If it's a really bad mistake, we have to really learn from it, but it's not insurmountable if we have the right support around us.